The year was 1990. The Berlin Wall was being demolished, the Hubble Space Telescope went into orbit, and Back to the Future was on its third movie. Meanwhile, in Leicester, I was born. Like many people, I don't remember much about my babyhood, but I do remember one thing: watching Thomas the Tank Engine for the very first time. Ever since I was 9 months old, I've always loved the show, and it was that led to my interest in trains. It's also ideal for people with autism. Thanks to Thomas and his friends, I learnt about emotions. Because I found the human face too flexible, it was difficult to see how they were feeling, but because the faces on the engines were static, it was easy. A couple of years later, I then saw my all-time favourite TV show for the very first time, Thunderbirds. And because of this, Thunderbirds Are Go was the very first movie I saw in my life. After seeing it and the other Gerry Anderson shows the BBC were repeating, I started to become an Anderson fan. Although I do confess, it took me a little while to like Captain Scarlet, as I did find it scary. As the years went by, I enjoyed even more TV shows, including the education programs, which were a great help during my school era, and that's what got me interested in television and filmmaking. On the 11th of March 1995, I was diagnosed with autism. I also had dyslexia, meaning I can't read or write as fluently as other people can. As I got older in my childhood, I had a camera made for children, and although some of my early photographs were mainly of scenery, locations and objects and not too many people, my family were very impressed. By the time I was 8, I was given a proper camera. Over the years, I took many amazing photos, including the London Eye before it was opened. Sometimes, when I went on school trips, I brought my camera with me. Instead of doing the boring paperwork, I designated myself as the school trip photographer. Unofficially, of course, but my photos were way better. Later on in life, I got my very own video camera so I could do some filming. And when I was 13, I got my first editing software. My time at school was, well, there's no other word to say it, horrible. 11 years of hell. The first 6, primary school, was the worst. None of the teachers had any understanding about autism, and they just assumed it was bad behaviour. As for secondary school, although I had better support, my time there really showed me the harsh truths of reality. The real problem at both schools was, of course, the bullies. They just wouldn't leave me alone, or die. I was alone, miserable, and suffering from depression. However, I did have some finest hours at secondary school. I stood up to some of the most horrible bullies. I was the first student to win the Trendy Schoolwear achievement, and in December 2005, I got my first kiss. I left school in 2006 and spent the next 2 years studying multimedia at Leicester College, where I earned 3 merits. All the work was practical, the environment was friendly, and everyone was treated with respect. During my college era, my confidence and independence was starting to improve, and I felt more comfortable about telling people that I was autistic. It was also around that time that social websites, Facebook and YouTube were born. I discovered YouTube when I found some episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine that I've never seen before. My brother's girlfriend told me a little bit more about the site, and I decided to join so I can share any video work I made at college, or to share video clips of special events and conventions I went to. The very first YouTuber I subscribed to was Chris Thompson. Like me, he's a Gerry Anderson and Doctor Who fan, and he made an amazing series called EDF, Earth Defense Force. After college, I went to De Montfort University and spent 3 years studying video and animation production. I had the right support, my film editing skills were getting better, and I made lots of new friends. I graduated in 2011 and received my BSc. Also in 2011, I became an ambassador for the National Autistic Society in Leicestershire. As time went on and I became an adult, I ended up filling in more and more forms. Some of them were so difficult, Even my mum had trouble trying to understand them. That's when I came up with a theory. Now that we had YouTube, organisations that make the forms could upload a tutorial video that goes through the form and explains what the questions are asking. But there weren't any. Why not? To quote Jeremy Clarkson, how hard can it be? That theory was about to be put to the test. Just before I left university, I discovered a group called the Mighty Creatives. They help people who want to become entrepreneurs and set up their own businesses. Because I had a lot of trouble trying to get a job, my family persuaded me to set up my own business. So I saw the Mighty Creatives and told them about my business idea. By working with service providers, I could create videos, images, or animations so that people with reading difficulties can understand the information that service providers provide. I called the business Words to Pictures. The Mighty Creatives thought it was a brilliant idea, so they gave me a grant to start the business. During the early years, things were going well. I met different organizations and they loved the work I did for them. However, things started to go downhill. The idea of turning complex words into simple visuals was so brilliant that people wanted my services either for very low prices or for free. You can't make a living through voluntary work. I tried my best to advertise more, but I just didn't have the marketing or business know-how. The years passed. Words to Pictures was running out of money and I hardly had any customers. But in 2012, I set up a new YouTube channel, Dalek SRAM, and that was getting better and better as I uploaded more videos. In 2015, I discovered the YouTube stars, and Rosanna Pansino was the very first star I subscribed to. Ro is creative, entertaining, and she always tries to stay positive even in difficult situations. During the time with my new channel, I attended more and more events and conventions. I made more new friends, got photos and autographs from famous people, and I got to meet other YouTubers face to face. After discovering and subscribing to more YouTube stars, I decided what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a famous YouTuber, not for fame and fortune, but to prove that just because I have a disability, it doesn't make me a failure. I can still achieve things. I closed down Words to Pictures and spent a lot of time thinking, planning, and creating more videos for my channel. I admit the road that I'm on is a very long one, and it will be a long time before I get the silver play button trophy. But like Jerry Anderson, I'm gonna keep going for as long as I can. How long that will be? Only time will tell. But in the meantime, I want to take the opportunity to say thank you to my family, my friends, and the people I've looked up to. Thank you for all your love, support, and enthusiasm for the last 30 years.